New Philly D Thumbo. Hey, let's fucking go. Let's watch this and we'll get back to the other stuff. All right, here. Gen Z political gender gap grows.
Shitty. And then, we got to talk about how the political gap between Gen Z men and women.
So how come Jews were even hated back then without chattel slavery? You think there's no need to make a specific outgroup like that? What? No, chattel slavery is not the only time that there was a need for a specific outgroup. Huh. Bro has not read history. You're not talking about me, I don't think. Philly stole your look. I see this motherfucker showing the guns, dude. Why are you always eating at the same time that I eat?
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if tacos can fall apart and still be amazing, so can you, puta.
It's so dumb.
Is not only growing, but now we have polling from the New York Times and Siena College finding that the Gen Z gap is actually bigger than any other generation. With them noting that back when the race was Trump versus Biden, men aged 18 to 29 favored Trump by 11 percentage points, and women favored Biden by 28, making that a 39-point gap between the genders. And while that was pretty wide, it's gotten bigger now that Kamala Harris is the candidate. With the polling that the Times and Siena took in 6 swing states this month, finding that young men favored Trump by 13 points and young women favored Harris by 38. We're looking at a 51-point gap, right? And that is further apart than any other age group. And so you have the Times saying that this election has become a referendum on gender roles, with young women becoming very liberal following the Me Too movement, as well as the surge of activism after Roe was overturned. Whereas with some young men, on the other hand, quote, they feel that rapidly changing gender roles have left them behind socially and economically, and see former President Donald J. Trump as a champion of traditional manhood. And as for what specifically has sparked this, well, I mean, you could point to a million reasons. You have folks like political commentator Hasan Piker seeing this polling and writing, every young male interest online, from gaming, fitness, to culture and self-help, is dominated by right-wing, red-pilled manosphere commentary. They prey on the anxieties and insecurities of vulnerable young men. And if you look around, he is definitely not alone in thinking that. But I mean, one report earlier this year on this shift noted that social media algorithms have pulled, quote, moderately conservative young men towards more extreme and radical conservative male role models and worldviews. But here, I will also say, this is not an American-specific thing. This is a global trend. I mean, in Europe, there has also been a shift of young people moving to the right, especially men. But yeah, I mean, as far as why this...
Or Korea. Baba, bugün daha bile tuzlu yapmışsın. Dünden bile daha tuzlu bugün. Bilmiyorum.
This push is happening stateside and specifically creating support for Trump. You had the New York Times speaking to young men, and there we saw their answers kind of vary, with the outlet noting that Gen Z men are still slightly more likely to identify as Democrat than Republican, and those who are conservative often still support social issues like same-sex marriage and abortion rights. And you even had some who seem to have sympathy for women's rights, with one Michigan Trump supporter saying that, quote, all the industries are dominated by men, bosses are men, there hasn't been a woman president. I think women deserve a little bit more. But largely, you had the Times saying they found that young men who plan to vote for Trump pointed to feeling unvalued, or noting economic issues that have them worried about traditionally masculine roles like the ability to support a family. With, for example, one Georgia voter who plans to go for Trump saying, we can't afford to have children. We can barely afford 3 meals a day. I want to be able to go to the doctor and afford it. I want to be able to own a home. I want to be able to have a car. I want to have a job I enjoy. I want to live, not just survive. And this is, you had another Trump supporter in Nevada kind of saying that young men felt that they've been told what not to do for a long time, and another in Michigan saying it feels like men are looked down on. And all this is, you had the Times pointing to polling from Pew that found that 40% of Trump-supporting men believe that women's gains have come at the expense of men, and this even though only 1/5 of general respondents thought so. All of which is very interesting, but also too, it has some arguing that this is the way to move some voters over, saying the Democrats need to make a stronger case on some of these issues, with one of the easiest being the tax cuts for the middle class. So of course, a lot of this just comes down to general messaging. I mean, for example, even right here, you have the Times noting that the Democratic Party has a page all about who the party serves, and many demographic groups are mentioned, but none specifically include men. So these voters just might not feel seen by the party. With all that said, whether you're a Gen Z man or woman or really whatever demographic you hit, I'd really love to know your thoughts on this situation, the shift, and what we might see that's helpful in the future moving forward. And then, y'all, my kids, they're getting older and different things become more fun to do with them. And doing fun, creative, brain-building projects with your kids, it's seriously fun. And to be honest,
you say you can't muster any sympathy? Okay, guys, like the that's a ridiculous way to approach the subject matter. This is going to be far more consequential. But have men done anything? Men don't hold other men accountable. Please do not do some fucking dumbass gender war shit in this chat right now. Okay? That is ridiculous. Okay? The insecurities and the anxieties that men have stem from real material issues that they experience. There is certainly a sense of entitlement, okay? But ultimately, it literally comes not because they're men with penises and balls, but because, as Philip DeFranco correctly pointed to, a lack of future prospects. You have to solve the underlying material inequalities that they are experiencing. Like what material problems do they have? Elderly lady. My Gen Z son is not a pussy. He doesn't feel like this. Like, what material problems do they have? What do you mean? No future job prospects. The reality of like retirement at a reasonable age is becoming impossible to even dream of. The fact that they will never be able to own a home. The fact that if they actually need to go to the doctor, that is going to be punishing their fucking wallet so devastatingly. The fact that if they want to be able to participate in the fucking job market, they need a college degree, which is at least like $100,000 minimum. Like, you think men don't also experience those things? Now, the difference is women experience that too, except men are left behind, especially with education. And also beyond that, they have a sense of entitlement due to patriarchal constructs. Okay? That's why they respond differently to the exact same issues that they're experiencing. But that's it. Part of the reason is because ain't nobody is responding to those issues for men or for women, but at least one party is routinely changing their trajectory and changing their attention to misogyny, engaging in fucking gender wars. That's it. My son's getting a CNA in high school for free, getting an associate's degree. His BA will be $10K total. Okay, congratulations, elderly person with a son. I'm excited for his future, but like that doesn't change what I'm talking about. Because women actually come together and find solutions to their problems? No. It's because women are being fucking pushed out by one party regularly because that party is consistently attacking their position in society. Men, on the other hand, see this because in the same breath, they are using, in the same breath, the Republican Party and right-wingers are using this as a zero-sum game. Women are advancing in society, and it's coming at the cost of men. Every single thing that we're talking about, Philip DeFranco literally mentioned in the poll.